So there is a journalist melting down right now over at The Gamer. He published this article about 8 hours ago. I have a video going over the entire article, but I'm going to give you a little bit of a snippet here tonight on Hypnocast, where it's nothing but cope. The entire thing is cope. Just look at the title. Read the title. Black Myth Wukong is the lowest rated game to get a Game Awards Game of the Year nomination. Now, you tell me if that doesn't sound like cope, but don't worry, it gets so much better. This man is out here trying to talk shit on Black Myth Wukong and essentially hits at it not being worthy of nomination because it's lowest rated. Now, keep in mind, this is just the mainstream industry that is trying to keep its hold on the narrative. This idiot is trying to say because the journalist didn't rate it high, that suddenly it should not be nominated for a Game of the Year. Now, you're probably thinking to yourself, oh, gee, that means every other game must be way ahead, right? In terms of score, it's got to be at least 5 points or more higher. No, the lowest rated game ever to be awarded Game of the Year or nominated for Game of the Year in that category was an 82. This game is an 81. So apparently, being an 81, that's too far. But being an 82, oh, that's okay. Let's be fucking real, man. It has nothing to do with the score. You know that. I know that. It's got nothing to do with the score. Anyway, let's continue. The Game Awards have revealed its list of Game of the Year nominees this year, which include Black Myth Wukong. However, despite its massive popularity earlier this year, Black Myth Wukong has now become the lowest ever rated Game of the Year nominee. This is also during a year in which highly rated titles such as A Dragon Infinite Wealth, Persona 3 Reload, and Silent Hill 2 were all snubbed. I think it's amazing that they're trying to say that Silent Hill 2 was snubbed when Silent Hill 2 was recommended in multiple categories. You guys saw it. We're not blind. Silent Hill 2 was recommended in multiple nominations. So why are we pretending like that game was snubbed? I don't know. Whatever. The Game Awards have finally dropped its list of, we already saw all that. Let me go down. Of course, to actually have your favorite included, another game would need to be cut. The question is which one? Outside of Shadow of the Erdtree, the only title that you can make an argument for not deserving its place is Black Myth Wukong, as it's actually the lowest ever rated title to become the Game of the Year nominee at the Game Awards, sitting at 81 on Metacritic. The problem is literally every other single other game that has ever been nominated for a Game of the Year award at the Game Awards has had a higher score. The lowest score for a game before Black Myth Wukong's nomination was jointly held by both Control and A Plague Tale Requiem, which can only scores of 82 on Metacritic for a variety of reasons. These games had an 82, okay? An 82. And you're complaining about a game that has an 81? Are we trying to pretend as if that 1 point is going to be the point that's too far? Like you've gone too far with that 1 point? That's it? It's too far. Really? That's the story we're trying to sell right now? What about all the good reviews? What about the reviews from people that actually played the game? Because we know you dumb motherfuckers never got past chapter 2. So what about the reviews that are actually on Steam? Because last I checked, Steam had at least 95% plus positive. So he says other games that are quite close to Black Myth Wukong's score include Stray at an 83, Resident Evil Village at an 84, The Outer Worlds at an 85, even PlayerUnknown Battleground and Hearthstone were more highly rated. But Black Myth Wukong differs slightly in that there are games that were released this year that are much more highly rated, yet were snubbed for the grand prize anyway. This is coming from someone who thinks that they are the arbiters as to what is allowed to be in Game of the Year and what's not. This is the problem. You really think that people give a fuck about the scores that journalists give? Nobody believes journalists anymore. We haven't believed journalists for years. And you're still sitting up here coping and seething over the fact that Black Myth Wukong got nominated. That should be your fault. Maybe instead of blaming everybody else and saying, oh, this game doesn't deserve to be there, maybe you should reflect on yourself, look at your reviews, and wonder why you gave the game such a low score. Because everybody else clearly doesn't believe you. Everybody else clearly doesn't agree with you. Maybe look at yourself and realize why you gave the game a low score. But you're not going to do that because that's accountability, and that's not going to happen. So all this is simply just fucking salt. This is a massive flood of salt. It's a truck. It's a free truck delivery of salt. That's what this is. Like a Dragon, Infinite Wealth sits at a score of 89 on Metacritic, which probably has the studio wondering what it actually has to do to get a nomination. While other high-profile titles like Silent Hill 2 Remake, Warhammer 40k, Space Marine 2, Helldivers 2, Persona 3 Reload, and even Dragon Age of Veilguard were all more highly rated than Black Myth Wukong. This is it right here. This is the problem right here, boys. It's because Dragon Age of Veilguard is not there. You think he would be complaining if Dragon Age of Veilguard was there? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. This man is angry as fuck that Dragon Age of Veilguard got snubbed. And now he's trying to take it out on Black Myth Wukong. Oh, this game doesn't deserve to be there. What? The game that had 2.5 million concurrent players on Steam. The game that sold almost 20 million copies in just a couple of weeks. And again, I know sales aren't everything. I totally get that. But they got to mean something. They got to mean that people actually enjoyed it. The word of mouth was good. It was gamers' choice. It's got to mean something. If we stand back and try to figure out exactly why Black Myth Wukong made the list, the fact that it smashed records on Steam when it launched probably has a lot to do with it. It's a pretty good game, which I even admit in my review, but its massive commercial success has undoubtedly played a part in it grabbing top spot. And what's wrong with that? What's wrong with that game grabbing top spot when it was the top game? It was the top game. There's no doubt about it. So what's wrong with that? Then he says sales aren't a metric for quality, though. What? Wow, what cope? Cope. You know what they were saying that too with? This is a repeat of a certain point in history that we've all experienced. And you guys know what that point in history is, right? This is a repeat of what happened with Hogwarts Legacy. When they kept trying to tell everybody, oh, sales don't matter. Sales aren't the metric for success. Okay. Keep telling yourself that. And then he says, as that would mean Resident Evil 5 is the best in the series, and we know that isn't true. It might be for a lot of people. So again, man, this person is an absolute fucking loser that is coping massively over Black Myth Wukong winning a nomination for Game of the Year and getting the nomination over Dragon Age of Veilguard. You can clearly tell that this person is a major shill for Dragon Age of Veilguard. I would almost guarantee it. So you're so angry over this game being nominated, when again, you should be thinking to yourself, gee, why did I give this game such a bad review or not that great of a review? What am I missing from what everybody else? You know what I mean? But they're never going to do that. They're flat out never going to do that because that would have to mean they have to admit that they're wrong. And gaming journalists don't exactly do that. That's just the truth of it. So I wanted to bring this to you. I have a lot more information in the video coming out tomorrow. Make sure you guys check out that video because I promise you it's insane. And anytime we get to make fun of the wokies, I'm all for it. We should take every opportunity to make fun of them because they are ideological psychopaths. And that is putting it lightly. Ideological psychopaths to the max.